And today I have a special guest. And how I reached this guest was going onto a Facebook group called Content Cafe, ran by my friend Rob from Thinkific, also TubeBuddy. And I asked him, I was like, hey, I really want to get a guest on for my show because it's all about the hustle, the grind, everything else. So I was like, I need to find out who to get on my podcast. And I asked him, can I reach out on the public forum saying, okay, I thought my t-shirt was inside out. And I reached out and I just said, hey, can I do this? And then he said yes. So I got a lot of responses. But one of the first people to respond and first person to actually book something with me today is Stephanie Carper. Stephanie does all sorts of things around like YouTube tips, talking about even we're actually this time I like want to save it. I don't want to get into it too much because we're going to have a very organic conversation. It's going to be fun and great, and it's going to be a nice talk. So everybody, I want you to welcome in Stephanie Carper, all the way from where are you from?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's what it was. I was going to say Connecticut. I'm so bad. The
No,
ADHD in my head, I'm telling you.
it's
Anyways,
fine.
welcome to NiiceTalk. Thank you so
Well,
much for having the time
hello.
today.
Well, thank you for inviting me
Yeah,
and letting me come on your show.
definitely. I really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it too because I mean, like, if you guys don't know, which you guys don't know because I didn't say anything yet, but there's a time difference. She lives in Oklahoma. I live in Seattle. So when I say 5:30, I didn't
Two
even take
hours.
into consideration that we might be on different parts of the earth. So future
It
tip
worked
for
out,
Chris
man.
is to do PST or CST, whatever.
CST,
But we made it work, right?
EST.
So,
It worked.
but luckily, because I have this like portable podcast, I could literally click and go. The only thing I needed help with
So
was the
cool.
lighting. That's it.
Yeah.
But everything looks good. I'm saturated.
Got the
Nice.
prismatic light back there. You just dropped a video about that.
Exactly on my
I want one for my
second channel,
studio.
NC Media. Yeah,
Yeah, I want
it's
one for my
good.
studio.
It's fun. It's fun. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, and I'm glad that we're
Yeah.
able to connect. This is our first time chatting, our first time
Yeah.
communicating. So we've been going back and forth on Facebook here, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to get to know you because
Yeah.
there's texting people, and then there's
Yeah.
actually having a full on conversation, either if it's in person or
Exactly.
over the phone, and you get to know them more. You get to understand who they are, where they come from, and what they're
Yeah.
about. And I really wanted this conversation to be very genuine. I mean, we don't have any show notes. We don't have anything
Yeah.
specific. You
No
sent me some
show
stuff
clothes.
you do want to talk about, you're more than
Sure.
welcome to bring all those up.
Just
I want to
ideas.
bank off of that, and we'll just have an organic conversation. And
Sure.
hopefully, people can find value in this. If anything, it's just positive
Yeah.
vibes,
We're
from
just gonna be
especially a
we're
time
just
like
being
this.
ourselves. Just
Exactly,
being ourselves tonight. Hmm.
exactly. So
Awesome.
for one, let's talk about the Facebook post that I put
Hmm.
out.
Yeah.
When you commented on that and reached back out to me after I was reaching out to the media,
Yeah.
what got you interested in even coming on such a small podcast like mine?
Well, I mean, I really am wanting to reach out to and connect with fellow creators because that's really what it's all about. Aside from using our platforms and our channels to build community, to potential, viewers, I really personally think it's important to support each other and reach out to fellow creators because we're all, I mean, we're in it to be creators and spread positivity. At least that's my mojo. I think it is yours as well.
Yep.
And I had just as a confidence project for myself had started doing live streaming as well. I'm very much an extrovert, so I'm definitely not afraid to talk to anybody. But something about live streaming where I can't edit certain things out made me nervous. But with everybody else doing live streaming, a lot of other creators are doing live streaming right now, and we just have a great opportunity to do that and connect with people. And so I started one. My show's very, very small. Your show's probably bigger than mine, but I just did it as a confidence project. And I saw that you were reaching out, wanting to do the same. And
Yeah.
it was just a way to meet another creator and, meet, connect with your audience. And just, I found it as a good opportunity. I'm wanting to collaborate with a lot more creators right now. So,
Yeah.
I'm very motivated. And it just seemed really awesome. And we talked for what, like 5 minutes beforehand. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know, we kind of connected.
Yeah, for sure.
You're
I
easy
mean,
to talk to, man. And it's
I
cool to talk to when you find your people, people
yeah.
who know exactly what you're going through, exactly what it's like.
Yeah. No, but
So,
I like really appreciate that comment. It is a
yeah.
comment that I do value because it is said by a very select few of people
Mm,
that I do meet, and they say, Chris, you're like really easy to talk to. You're a great
yeah.
communicator. You listen, and those are things that I value, and I want to
Very,
um, even do better at. So it's like, what can I do
yeah.
better now that? So okay, I do this now. Now how can I give more value to you and stuff like that? So
Yeah.
I definitely really appreciate the comment of being able
Of
to talk
course.
because opening up is one of the important things when it comes to like the online world and even running a
Yeah.
podcast. Like if you're
You're putting yourself out there. Like you
exactly,
really are truly putting like the real you out here, especially when you do live shows like this.
yeah, and I
And
think that's really
so,
important because a lot of people see
yeah.
you on just social media or in person, but when you have a podcast such as this one and many others out there, that you can't really fake that for the 30
Yeah.
minutes to a hour. You're gonna
Yeah.
people are gonna see the fake in you. People are gonna see
Yep.
the because it's gonna be repetitive. Like I'm posting like
Yeah.
5 days a week on this podcast, maybe 3 to 5,
That is
depending
a
on
commitment.
how many people.
That's awesome.
And I just want it's always going to be the authentic me. I'm never going to be
Yeah.
different. I might be a little bit more excited at times. I might be a little bit more down at
Yeah.
times, but that's because I'm a
Gotta
human
pump
being.
yourself up for a live show.
Exactly. Like this one, I woke up this morning and I was like, I got live today. Let's do this. I'm gonna go get a haircut, from my cousin.
Yeah.
I guess that's not legal, but whatever.
Oh, I'm sure you were
I don't
very
pay
safe.
for it. I don't pay for it, so there's no transaction there, so we're good. You know,
Yeah.
he's safe.
Awesome.
I'm safe. But what got you interested? I'm sorry, in
Yeah.
the media world itself because I know that you are fairly new to this, aren't you?
Well, I'm not necessarily new to
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. I mean, to
Right.
go kind of from like the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I majored in college. I majored in public relations and marketing.
Yeah.
And I've always been an extroverted person, find it very easy to communicate and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then come 2009, when social media seemed to be blowing up, or maybe I just wasn't really keen to it until 2009, I met a really great person when I moved to Tulsa in 2008 named Cheryl Lawson. She runs social media Tulsa and she knows her stuff. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
just started getting into social media. And then I eventually started a blog just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Like it's dead right now. So don't try to go look it up online. It was just for fun. And then I found that there were some bloggers who were doing like video posts. And I'm like, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of randomly went onto YouTube and saw what it was about. And so I created my first video. I was so nervous and it was so bad. It was the quality was awful. I know we all cringe at like some of our first videos,
Oh
and
yeah, all of
it
us.
was, yeah, it was the most random thing ever. And that was just back in 2011. But I didn't really take it seriously, like at all. I just did it for fun, would follow certain creators and all of that. Wasn't consistent. I would, be really gun ho for a while and then I would kind of disappear. Wasn't taking it seriously. Didn't even really know at that point the opportunity you had to make this possibly a career and like the business behind it and
Yeah.
all of that. And, went through a couple of life themes like we all do sometimes.
Oh
And then
yeah.
really kind of just within the past year, and this is what I'm going to say really made me just passionate about doing this and kind of found my calling. There's a group here in Tulsa called Tulsa YouTubers,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of really locally here, a lot of really great fellow creators, some of them very, very successful. Actually, Corey Williams, I don't know if you know who he is, but he actually is here in Tulsa and came to one of our meetups once.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of how I just got started. When you find your people, it's really amazing how it inspires you.
Yeah.
And of course, I was still kind of experimenting with my content. And it wasn't until I went on I was on one of Roberto Blake's live streams. He does like call-in shows now. Some of his streams are like 4 hours long. That's way to go, dude.
Yeah.
And he gave me some really great advice. I said I was kind of struggling with this,
Yeah.
and it really just boiled down to what makes me happy,
Mm-hmm.
what do I enjoy doing, like deep down in my soul? What makes me happy? What can I make content on that I'm not going to get burnt out about? And I kind of just came to doing, YouTube tips because especially with where we are now, with what's going on in the world, we have this awesome opportunity, unique opportunity to connect to people over video. A lot of, businesses and professionals are having to be really innovative and connect on video. And I want to help people. I like helping people be successful. I'm kind of starting over right now and learning more. And as I learn, I want to teach everybody else what I learn, help them be successful, and then also help them just be more confident, when it comes to being on camera. We were talking before, it's kind of a confidence project for
Yeah.
me. Like, no matter how extroverted you are, it's really just been a confidence project for me. And I want to help people find that confidence and realize how amazing they can be on video and how they can really connect with people. And so that's kind of where I am now. So I'm
Right.
kind of starting over again, but it's really a really exciting journey, and I just want to help as many people as I can. So
Right. And that's good when you like have the goal to like help people. It's not too
yeah,
like, of course,
that's what
every job has a selfish side to it, but in a positive
yeah.
way. But when your overall goal is to like help the next person, I think that's great.
Hmm.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
And that's what I meant too.
absolutely.
I just realized the way I said like new to this, what I meant was to
I know what you
this
meant.
new flow, like as in like not like
Yeah,
media itself, but now that you understand what you're doing, that kind of
yeah.
like media, because you're um, starting something somewhat new. Like you're like starting to change it up. You're starting to
This is
level
like my
up,
life.
and you're
It's a
understanding your like vibe. You know what I mean? So,
oh
and
yeah,
yeah, like those like the live streaming and stuff. It's like
yeah.
it's really good. Like I'm
It's
fairly new
crazy.
to this live streaming thing too. This is the most live streams
Yeah,
I've done it in my entire life. You
that's
know?
awesome. Yeah, I've
So,
done one of my fellow creators here in Tulsa. He on YouTube, his name is Ray, but on YouTube he goes by Big as Ray Ray. And if you ever watch him online, you'll see how on brand that is for him. But he did 50 live streams in a row for 50 days. He did a live stream every day at 4 p.m. because of just, quarantine and a
mhm,
lot of people not maybe being in quarantine alone and not being in shelter in place and not being able to connect with other people. He did it for 50 days in a row. And I just thought that
wow.
was amazing. He'd never done live streaming before,
Hmm.
but he did it. And that inspired me to try live streaming. I did a weekly live stream. I did 8 in a row. So every Saturday I did one. I, eventually brought on
Congrats.
some
That's
guests and
awesome.
yeah, thank you. And I want to continue keeping live streaming in the mix. Like I might not do it every Saturday, but I want to, bring on other creators and collaborate because I mean
Hmm.
that's going to provide value to people as well.
Right.
They might learn something from another creator, and it's just a really cool opportunity. So I want to keep doing it. I know a
Sorry,
lot of
I'm like
creators
yawn when I
are.
sit. It has nothing to do with you. Every single
It's
person who
okay.
knows me knows that I yawn when I sit, and this is like
I'm quite a talker, Chris. So
no.
sometimes I
I
can
love
just
it.
go on and
I
on.
like want you to talk my ear off because I hear a lot of
I will.
comments from people saying that I talk a lot. So I'm trying to like take a step back. I'll like ask a question and then I'll
See,
just
it's
let you talk.
beautiful. There we go.
Yeah, it makes the world go round, when we're both
Yeah,
talkers. So that's good.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the live streaming thing, with like even the weekly or daily, I mean, consistency is all about just doing it when you say
that's
you're gonna
what's
do it. So
so
once you get it on
important.
that, then you could do 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. The only reason
Yeah,
why I'm doing 5 times a week, or maybe 3 to 5 times a week, if not
yeah,
more, is because I have so much time. It also,
yeah.
I just got some new gear too, so now I'm just like, all right, I like really want to do
You
this
have
and meet
such
people.
cool gear.
I know, I
You know, so
love
it's
it.
like all I have right now, like I'm still building like my own little home studio, was very inspired by live streaming pros. We were talking about that before as
Oh
well,
yeah,
Lori and David.
yep.
So I don't have like a mic like you do. It's on order, and
Mine
I have
too.
some
This
other
is
things
this is actually my
coming.
friend's mic. This is not mine.
Oh,
This is my friend
it's
Neutral's
pretty
mic.
cool.
Yeah,
You
it's
got
like
the whole
I
like,
forget what kind it is. It's a Samsung CO1 studio condenser mic. So it's a good mic, but
cool.
I have the Rodecaster Pro down here.
Yeah,
It's like it like lights up and it's pretty cool. And
nice.
I could connect this to my computer, so that's how I'm hearing you is through my mixer. So it's
That's
pretty dope.
awesome.
And then I ordered a
Yeah.
pod mic too. So the pod mic's coming in. It's like $100 microphone. It's XLR, so it plugs right into here, and
I know what you're talking about.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. So I can't wait to get that one too. So
Yeah.
I'm
I've
slowly,
got
slowly
equipment in order. Like I'm here. Most of my videos either have been filmed where I am right now. You can see my living room in the background,
love the
or
background. By the way, you were
thank
creative
you.
with your angle.
I
Um,
try to be. I'm very conscious of what's in my background. So before we came on, and that's one tip: be very aware of what's in your background.
Yes.
Don't
Tip
film your
number
video.
one of all
Yeah.
tips is to always be aware what's in your background because you might
Don't
have
do.
a leftover Burger King chilling
Yep.
or a cat is
Something
there trying to attack your
that you've
tree. You got
seen.
to be very careful. Yeah.
Yep, yeah, I think we've all made those mistakes before. I've even spent hours filming a video before, and let's say it
Ooh.
takes hours, sometimes days to film like maybe a 7 minute video. So
Yeah.
don't be fooled, everybody. And then I go back and I'm going through the footage and starting the editing process, and then you look and you're like, oh my gosh, but
I've
how
had
did I
so
not
many of
notice
those
before?
moments, but it would even be minor issues.
Yeah,
And by the way, like when I do videos and stuff, it's not like a joke, right? I got to take it very
yeah,
seriously because these videos are going out to thousands of people. And there's
yeah.
been moments where I messed up the audio, the
Oh
lighting,
my God.
the not pressing record. I've dealt with
I,
all that. But the
I've done
best
that
thing is
before.
I've
I'm
learned.
so lying. I've done that
Exactly.
before.
I've learned from it. So now it's like before I even press play or record,
Yeah,
I'm sitting there being like, all right, how's the background look? I noticed that over here, there's still some shoes. There's like a
I
shoe
know.
or something like that. That's a shoe rack. But you know what? In the video, you can't see it because I cropped it
Yeah,
out. Oh,
you
actually, wait,
guys
you can't
can't
see
see.
it. So, yeah, you're solid. So you can't see it. All you see is
Yeah,
a wall that has the color orangish red on it with a prismatic. But, anyways,
I love it.
I made sure now. So every time I press record, is the
Yep.
settings right on the camera? Is the
Yep.
audio right on on my
You
thing?
live and you
So
learn
yeah,
for
you learn.
sure.
You got to learn
Gotcha.
if you're gonna be in this business. You know, you're gonna make plenty
For
of
sure.
mistakes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think one of the most embarrassing mistakes I made is I was at Cheryl Lawson, who I mentioned before, who
Yes.
taught me a lot about social media. She has a conference that she does every year, the social media Tulsa business conference.
Right.
And so this one I think it was probably filming like my first vlog or something. And if you do vlog, you have to be used, if you have your camera up, people are going to look at you like you're a crazy fool. You've just got to get used to it.
Yeah.
And so I finally got up the confidence to do that. And I had my camera, and I think it was even Cheryl herself. I was like, "Hey, Cheryl, tell us about the conference or all of that."
Hmm.
And I actually got it, filmed a really great clip. And then I went back to look at my camera. I hadn't pushed record because I was very
Oh,
aware of everybody else around me, and that made me nervous. And I
yeah.
forgot to push record. So,
I still feel that way. Like,
whoops.
I started a vlog channel in 2013, and it only has like 5,800 subscribers right now. Which it's not only. I know I said that earlier, but
Yeah,
I didn't post as often because a lot of the times, for one, I'm friends with people who are like really big vloggers. So I always felt
yeah,
discouraged and like they're going to think I'm copying them. They're going to judge me because I'm not as good as them. And that was always my worry because I don't like being judged for things that I'm not. And I over assume
yep,
things. And I'm like, oh, they probably think I'm like trying to copy. When it's like, you know how many vloggers there are in the world? If I was
yep,
copying like their exact name, the way that they do things, then yeah,
yeah,
maybe I should worry about that. But I always found something negative in it. But nowadays, it's like if I'm gonna vlog something, I'm gonna pull out my camera and I'm just gonna talk because it's like the
it's like
person.
you're not trying to copy Casey Neistat, but you're inspired by him and you're seeing
Exactly.
what he does, make it your own. And that's one of the things, when I finally went into the niche that I'm in now, like YouTube tips and motivation and confidence building. I'm like, there are so many other huge people. There's
Yeah.
Sean Cannell, there's Roberto Blake, there's Catherine Manning, there's Tim Schmoyer, there's Nick Nimmo. And I'm like, are people going to think I'm just the biggest idiot? They're going to come to
Yeah.
look at my channel and say, your audience is so small and, why would I want to listen to you? But I kind of realized that, I mean, there's room for everybody and
Yeah.
everybody's going to be unique. I mean, I'm very goofy. I'm a little weird and I'm very quirky, and that's going to come across in my personality, and that's going to help me connect to other
Right.
people. And kind of like we said, like you realize the reason you're wanting to do things and don't let that intimidate you. I
Right.
mean, look at those creators and see, what they do. Even you can even see like what they talk about or their editing styles
Yeah.
or things like that, but let that inspire you. Like you said, definitely don't copy, but it's okay to let that inspire you and then
Oh
kind
yeah.
of just make it your own. And so that's kind of where I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But my first thought when I found my calling, I'm like, should I do this? Am I even going to be able to compete? But it's not really about competing.
Mm-mm.
You're doing you and you're out there to inspire people and help people and just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
It's seriously. So
Yeah.
Benji, he's been my mentor for over 10 years, and whenever I
So
talk about
cool.
something, the only response he gives me when I start talking about something is just do it. Because when
Yeah.
you, it's it's not even like a fun slogan and it's Nike, etc. What it really
Yeah.
is like just do it. Like, hey, I want to go live this many times a week and I want to do this and I want to grab that and I want to do this. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Like, it's not impossible. Like, it's not impossible to reach out to somebody. Even, I don't care about the size of people's channels. I care about who the
Yeah.
person that they are and what information they could share. That's why I'm reaching out to everybody. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that you're not valuable. I'm saying I'm,
That was
I'm
a
willing to
really
reach out
great
to
thing.
someone who could tell me how to tie a shoe,
Yeah.
because
Why not?
that way it's like it brings in and it gives them a chance too to show
Hmm.
to show their expertise, to show their strategies, because everybody wants to learn something, and when you're able to learn from other people, it's exciting.
Mm.
Compared, like,
It's a great thing.
yeah, because like when I learn from like my parents, I don't want to learn, you know what I mean, because it's my parents.
Yeah.
But when I learn from
I
like
know.
a random person who tells me the same exact thing that my parents told me, then my parents later tell me, see, I told you so. I'm like, yeah, I had to hear it from
Yeah.
someone else though, you know. That's just how life
Like,
is.
yeah, like you never know. I mean, it may not work. Like you may have this vision in your mind, an idea that a certain thing's going to happen,
Mm,
and it may not work. But if it doesn't work, then you just monitor and adjust, and you try something else.
right.
You know, and so that's kind of how I have to look at it sometimes.
Yeah.
I like you get so inspired and you just have this vision of what you want to do. Like I've written down like an entire business plan of what I want to accomplish and ideas of what I could do with my channel, but it may not work. But I'll just, monitor and adjust and
Mm-hmm.
find something that does. Like who was it that said, I can't remember who it was that said this, but I know like you might make 100, maybe even 200 really bad videos, and then maybe on your video 201
Yeah.
it's going to click. You have to be willing to fail
Yeah.
and
That's
have
one of the
people
biggest things
judge
too.
you.
Like people,
Yeah.
like by the way, like a lot of great people say that, such as like Sean, Roberto, Pat, Nick.
I know it was one of them. I
It
don't know.
was.
I can't
I
remember
think it
who.
might it
I could
might have been
attribute that
Sean.
to.
I think from my, because I
Yeah.
think I've heard him say that, but
Yeah.
um, it's only true because you just don't know. Like, especially if you're still like new to like your niche and you don't know.
Yeah.
Like right
Like
now
me.
on this channel, like right, like technically a podcast supposed to be around something, like if it's like MMA, talking about politics, talking about
Yeah.
food, talking about stuff. But right now, my
One of my
whole
friends has
niche
a
is a
beer
nice
podcast.
conversation with unique
Yeah.
individuals who can share some value. That's it. But who knows? Maybe down the road, it's gonna be. I might change the name. I might
Yeah. You
change
could
the
have a
the the
one.
topic, but you're not going to know that until you post 100 or 200 videos, and
Yeah.
then around your 50th or 70th video, you're going to figure out your niche, your flow, and then that's when you maximize it, and then from there, your broadcast only gets better and better,
Yeah.
and so on. But what I do
Yeah.
want to talk about is something that
Sure.
you did bring up, almost the
Sure.
first thing that you mentioned when you did message me, and
Okay.
that is your journey as a creator and the
Yeah.
struggles going into that, which I think everyone struggles when they become a creator. And I
Yeah.
know that you said you've been doing this from around like 2009 or so, but right now it's fairly new
2011,
to
but
like a new start. You're like refreshed and
I
you
didn't
found
take
out your
it
niche.
seriously until probably the past year.
Right.
And it's still probably I connected with the Tulsa YouTubers group here,
Yeah.
and met other fellow creators and had people make me realize that I can be confident,
Hmm.
and I may have tried this or I may have tried that, and I may not have had a lot of people watch my videos, but that's okay. I mean, that I have a voice and I should be confident in what I have to offer. And it can be discouraging sometimes, especially if you're really passionate or excited about something and you try it and you work really hard on something or, a lot of some things, a lot of videos, and then they might bomb. And I mean, we'd be lying if we said that didn't affect us somehow. Like we always try to stay confident and just, keep going and never give up. But I mean, it is hard sometimes and it does affect you and you try not to let the negative in, but it happens sometimes. Um, and so, I mean, it definitely has been a journey for me.
Yeah.
And, but something clicked within the past year, something clicked and I just realized really how passionate I am about this and what an amazing opportunity YouTube provides you. Like as creators, we have the privilege of using our platforms, whether we have 10 subscribers, 100, 100,000, or a million. We have the privilege as creators to use our platforms to connect with people, to whether it be entertain, inspire, educate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a really great thing. And like we were talking about, I keep reference to like we had a great conversation before the show,
Yeah. No, it's fine.
but yeah,
It's true.
um, it probably wasn't until the past few weeks that it finally clicked like what my calling is. And I know
Yeah.
that may sound kind of dramatic, but I have to thank Roberto Blake. I've mentioned him like 5 times already. I might be a fan, but he's so smart and he's so inspiring and willing to share his knowledge. And he really just helped me narrow it down and realize what's really important to me and what I want to do. And it has been a journey and I've had, it's been a little depressing sometimes and I get really anxious about things because I always worry about what someone's going to think of me. Like, am I going to be good enough? And what are they going to think of me? And am I going to get negative attention? Are they going to laugh at me? Should I even bother trying to compete? But that's not what it's about. And so
Right.
it is hard. And that is the journey of every creator, in my opinion. We're all going to go through, times like that, but you just
Yeah.
have to just keep going and keep at it and just be confident in who you are and know that you have a
Definitely.
voice.
And I love that insight. I think Roberto Blake
Yes,
is so kind. There was this one video he
he's
posted a few
he's
months ago,
brilliant.
and I reached out to him
Yeah.
on Twitter as like a DM, and the video that he posted was like, um, oh my god, what was it called? It was something about post 100 videos or something like that, and had to do with like Mr. Beast's
Hmm.
success, all these people's success, and
Yes.
he goes, "You are not, you don't have." I want to make sure the words are right. I don't want to like mix up his words, but he mentioned
Yeah.
something like, "You are not owed anything.
Yep.
What you need is hard work." Now I'm just kind of mixing up the words, but he
I know what
roughly
I
said,
remember.
like, you don't, you aren't owed attention. You aren't owed followers. You need to put in the work because, as the
Just
example
earn
he
it.
used as Mr. Beast and even
Yeah.
PewDiePie, like to this day, PewDiePie makes videos
Yes.
from his webcam or some camera, right? And it's
Isn't that
very
amazing?
simple. And I mean, his edits are crazy. Those take hours, by the way,
Oh my
but
gosh.
it's so
Days maybe.
simple. and
Yeah.
and they were consistent and they tried and they didn't give up and they were thankful for every single follower. Like you always see on some of these people, like, hey, thank you for the 100 subscribers, thank you for the 1,000, thank you for
Yeah.
the 100,000. Like it just keeps going because
Yeah.
once you value the one person, because you
We're
need to value that,
blessed.
because if someone comes up to
Yeah.
me and starts talking to me at an event or at a restaurant and says, hey,
Mhm.
I want to say thank you for sharing some value, you really changed my perspective on something, or change something that was positive of me, I'm not
Isn't
going to
that
be
an
like, oh,
amazing
you're just
feeling?
one subscriber. You're
Yeah.
not a million people saying that you're just one. That would come off so rude. So like I
Yeah.
value that, like, when like people come up to me, even talk to me, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow, like thank you for one, even giving me the time of day to talk to me. Two, thank you for um, even receiving what I was able to give out in such a positive
Yeah.
way, and able to bring it back to me to let me know that I'm doing good for the world. If not for the world, then for you. Because when you help one person, you help many people. But people don't realize that because they see these numbers of like millions and hundreds of thousands and even 10,000. And they're like,
Yep.
oh, this person's popular. It's like, yo, I got 21,000 followers on Instagram, but that doesn't change who I am or
Yeah.
change what I am. It's, if
Yeah.
anything, it's still a very small number, right? But at the same
Yeah.
time, I value all of them because whenever I have tough times or whenever I have a question, someone's there to answer,
Yes.
and I value that. And then there's some posts that
Mhm.
I make. Like yesterday, I got, it was Mother's Day, and I haven't talked to my mom
Yeah.
in months, and she didn't even answer yesterday, so it kind of bothered me. So I kind of like
Oh
ranted
goodness.
about it on like Instagram and Twitter. I
Yeah.
try not to get too personal on that, but at the same time,
It's
it's like it's
okay.
real problems that people deal with, and someone else probably has to deal with that. So when I was able to
Hmm.
bring something like that up, I got a lot of good feedback. Not one negative thing. Everything was
Hmm.
positive, and they were there. They were supportive, and they told me like, "Hey, by the way, I just want to let you know you've helped me through times because you share moments like this." So when I hear something like that, it just makes me feel so good, and it makes me want to be a little bit more open, but also share value at the same time. So it's like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
struggling through this, but this is how I'm overcoming it. So um,
That's awesome.
I totally
Isn't
forgot
that
where I
the
was trying to
most
go with that,
amazing
but that's just
feeling?
where it is.
Yeah, I'm like sitting here like holding my heart.
Yeah.
Isn't that the most amazing feeling when someone comes and says that your video, like even if it was a video that you didn't think would have the effect that it maybe did,
Yeah.
that your video or your post like really meant that much to somebody.
Yeah.
I had like one of my personal friends who I follow on Facebook who didn't even know that I was a YouTuber until I really within the past year really started, taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Um we were just talking the other like randomly one day and she said, before we ended our we were I think we were on Facebook Messenger.
Right.
She said, I really look forward to your next video. And like those few words, like that
Oh,
meant
yeah.
so much to me. I had no idea that she even watched my videos. I'm like I post on my personal Facebook page and then my creator page and several other mediums. But I
Yeah.
had no idea she even watched my video. And that made my day.
Oh, that would
And
make mine too.
it's so cool. Just, when people come up to you like that, or when you get comments like that, it just really makes you think, it motivates you, makes you really realize how lucky we are to have the platform that we do and to really be able to reach people. Like in my mind, especially since I'm going into a new niche, in my mind, like if I can help one person,
Hmm.
be successful or feel better about themselves or maybe solve a problem they have, then I think I've done my job,
Yeah.
you know? And so it's a really cool thing. And that's so cool thank you for sharing that you've had,
Hmm.
experiences like that. That's
Yeah.
really what it's all about.
Yeah. I haven't, I mean, I'm definitely planning on like coming out with a couple things that will help, I believe, a lot of people that were in my situation. A little
Mhm.
back insight on that is just the period of me growing up and having very, very, very little support. It was just me and my dad growing up.
Yeah.
Of course, we had some support from like some family, but it was only during like some of the toughest times where there was no decision. It was either I go to a home or I go there for the night. You know what I mean? So it was almost like
Yeah.
I felt like it was almost forced upon, which I'm very thankful. I'm glad that I got any help from any family at all or even friends.
Yeah.
But it was just very little, and it had nothing. Like if I want to get into sports, I had no support. Like I would need like wrestling shoes, and obviously my dad probably couldn't have afforded it, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't wrestle for a certain part of the year, and then when I got into like breakdancing, like no one came to my competitions. It's
Yeah.
just very, very little support, and even around. Like I actually tweeted too yesterday that to me it's so normal not to see family. So then when I see people like going on picnics with their family or barbecues and saying that
Yeah.
they love their parents, like that's odd to me. It's weird because it's like I don't even really talk to anybody, right? So that kind of leads me to what I want to talk about next, and that's something
Okay.
that you mentioned that you have struggled with, which is
Yeah.
depression, anxiety, and
Hmm.
how you're able to like work through it and accept it as part of your story. I
Yeah.
think not only me, but I think other people can relate to that too. It's just um, if you're comfortable, of course, on sharing whatever
Oh,
you
it's
feel
fine.
like.
Yeah, it's fine. I actually made a video about it because kind of just realized because I guess I realized I didn't know if it would be, I guess in my mind, I didn't realize if it would be apparent in some of my videos, if it kind of made me not feel like seem like myself. Um, and I know mental health is something that I do not think is talked about enough. And a lot of people are ashamed and are ashamed to talk about it. And there's this stigma around it and they're afraid of what people are going to think of them. And, you know, I was too for a very long time. And I think I probably had depression for longer than I realized, but I didn't really realize it. And I went way too long before I went and I talked to somebody and realized what was going on. And once I actually went and I got help, like a lot of things that I learned about depression and anxiety and the effects it can have on you, I'm like, that makes a lot more sense now. Like I understand that now.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it could have that type of effect. And it affected depression can affect every aspect of your life. Like you may not realize it. You may think you have a handle on it, or I probably was high functioning, is maybe what someone would say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's if you keep all that bottled up inside, it eventually is going to explode. It's like you can only put so much water in a glass before it
Right.
overflows. And you know, and it's hard to talk about. It was hard for me to talk about. And I decided I sat down and I just made a video about it. It was very raw. I still have it up. I even thought about privating it once, but I left it up.
Right.
Um, and my thought was, is I'm going to be very vulnerable and very raw and just open up about it. And maybe it'll help somebody, you
Yeah.
know, and if it can help, like we were talking about before, if I can help one person, then I've done my job and it was worth it. And that was a very hard video for me to make. And I know there are probably 5 kajillion YouTubers and probably a lot of big creators that have come out and talked about it as well. But I think
Yeah.
it's probably because, especially if you're so in the public eye,
Mm-hmm.
you have such a large audience,
Yeah.
you're maybe afraid to talk about it because you're afraid, well, I have this image, or what is, you know, if you have a management team, or I mean, like, what are people going to think of me? Are people still going to want to watch my videos? Are they still going to want to follow me? Like, what are they going to think? I mean, that goes through your mind all the time, whether you have a public platform like YouTube or whether you're just going through everyday life.
Right.
And it's very hard, but realizing that you have a problem and realizing that it's okay to not be okay,
Mm-hmm.
it will really help you. And if you have to take medicine every day, then that's okay. You shouldn't be ashamed about that. If that's going to help you be the best you that you can be,
Right.
and help you get through this, then that's okay. And it took me a very long time to realize that.
Yeah. I was
Several
thinking about
years.
um probably going a route of talking to someone because
Yeah.
I'm not like traumatized or I'm not messed up in the head. I actually have a really good head on my shoulders and
Yeah.
I'm a very happy person, but there's still
Mm-hmm.
some things that's happened that still like gets to me, still
Same
makes me
thing for
wonder
me.
and think like, dang, if I had like this amount of support, where would I be? You know, if I grew
Yeah.
up with both parents and
Yeah.
more money in the family, like would I have even a bigger head on my shoulders? Like and like go
Yeah.
out to college and do all sorts of stuff. And I like to think about that stuff. But I have an opportunity now. There's like a therapist and stuff like that online, and I've been like looking
Yeah.
into that, and
Like telehealth.
because you know, by the way, some like insight to whoever's watching is if you see a therapist, you're not crazy. You don't
No,
have to think like, oh, I'm
not at
psychotic, I have
all.
to go. It's like there's just ways that you don't understand. There's just things that you don't understand yet fully from another side, from a
Someone
non-biased
who's
side.
unbiased. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that way you're able to actually listen,
Someone
and
who
they're
can give
not
you
gonna base it
perspective.
off of because they're your friend. Because people always say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I don't need a therapist. I can talk to my friend." You're right, you can, and they're gonna give you some
If you're
positive
emotionally
stuff.
involved,
Hmm.
it's going to make it a lot harder for
Yeah,
that person to,
exactly.
yeah.
And even if you talk to a stranger about it, like how I'm talking to you, right?
Yeah.
It's not even like bias, but it's still like there's professional help for a reason. They get paid a certain amount for a reason because they look at statistics and they're
Yeah.
able to diagnose you and see like, okay, what's going on in your life? Here's how you can fix it. And it
Yeah.
can even be a life thing. It doesn't have to be like your personal trauma. It's like, hey, what do you want in your life? Because people mostly struggle with, I don't know what I want to do. Like to this
Yeah.
day, I still kind of don't know what I want to do,
I'm
but I know around the
37 years
area.
old. I'm 37 years old
I'm
and I'm still trying to
27.
figure out yeah. I'm 37 and I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. But I
Yeah.
think I'm maybe getting there.
Yeah, you
We
got
both
this.
are.
I mean, it just takes it honestly it just takes time. You know,
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of people that have slowly progressed and all it took was time. And then once they make it, it still takes time to get to a
Yeah.
certain point. So,
Yeah.
I mean, my only advice is just keep going. Don't get discouraged. I mean, you're gonna
Yeah.
have some crappy videos, right? So am I.
Oh yeah. Oh
But
yeah.
crappy,
Oh
not
yeah.
not in like a way of like the way you produce, but I'm just saying like you're gonna look back at it one day when your content gets even better, and you're like, wow,
I want people to look at it and like show my growth. Like,
yeah,
here's my very first video that I made all those many moons ago.
oh yeah,
And then I get a little bit better, and a little bit
exactly,
better, and a little bit better.
yeah.
So,
Because I
and then
posted a
eventually
bunch of
we'll be at the
crappy
top of the
stuff,
mountain.
a bunch. I posted some
You know?
stuff that's just horrible. Like I'm just like,
Well, I taught myself how to edit. Like I don't have a graphic design background. I mean, I have a social media marketing background, but I use Canva. Like I have no graphic
Canva's
design
great.
skills. And it's a really great beginner tool.
Yeah,
I mean, they do all the dimensions for you, and it's just a great way to learn how to edit.
yeah.
And so that's
Yeah,
where
there
I
was
am right
someone
now.
reaching out about Final Cut stuff today, and I was helping them out because
Oh
they were trying
yeah,
to figure out. Because I've been editing on Final Cut Pro for like a couple years now, and I'm
someday.
not the best editor at it. Like
Yeah,
I learn stuff all the time. Like I just learned how to synchronize clips like 3 months ago,
yeah,
but now I
yeah.
know how to do it easy. You just highlight all the stuff
That's
and then
awesome.
whatever. And
Can I ask you
yeah,
something?
ask me.
When it comes to you mentioned Final Cut Pro, and it just made me think.
Yeah.
Now that I'm learning more and more, I'm eventually getting more advanced when it comes to editing.
Mm-hmm.
When I like watch a movie or even watch the news and I see graphics pop up or you see certain things, like my mind goes like, I think I kind of know how they did that. Maybe
Yeah.
I recognize that, and
Right.
obviously, if it's a movie or if it's on the news, they're using super like much more advanced tools than I am.
Yeah.
But I found that happening more and more, and just found that really interesting. I'm like, that's really cool. Like I think I know how they did that. They did this and that, and they put this overlay on. That's just an overlay. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
Yeah,
I
they like
found.
even right now, like I could do a live overlay on this thing. I just
Yeah.
gotta hit text, and I can hit text, and then I could find something, and I can just put hello. Whoops, I spelled hello wrong. That's how my day's going. And I
Hello.
can add it, and on the broadcast, it pops up right here in the middle,
That is so
right in the
cool.
middle, and I can make it
There
bigger.
you go.
I can make it bigger, and it's just an overlay. That's all it is.
It's
Hello.
really cool.
But anyways, so
Hello.
yeah, so the question on that, was there a
Awesome.
question that you had for me, or was that just like
Oh no, I was just you mentioned Final Cut
yeah,
Pro
yeah,
and
yeah.
see like my ADD is kicking in. I'm
Don't worry,
sorry
me too.
everybody.
Don't
I'm
worry,
like
we're the
pew,
same
pew, pew.
people.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
But
Final Cut. Yeah, so I think about that stuff too. I always think about because a
yeah,
lot of the graphic stuff that they do, there's so many different third party stuff. So like people who edit mainly on like Premiere Pro, Adobe has a lot of great stuff. Like they'll have like the like animation. Like
that's
there's
my
so many.
next
That's why you
goal.
get the whole Creative Cloud. If you're gonna edit
Yeah.
on any Adobe stuff, and you're paying $10 a month or $20 a month,
Yeah.
you might as well pay the 52 and get all the other stuff because it
Yeah.
is so valuable, and you're able to learn how to put in After Effects. After Effects is the stuff that you're really gonna like, and then there's other different stuff like Spark, and there's a bunch. I don't know them all, but it's worth
Yeah.
it, and it is good, and you get to learn more. But what I like about Final Cut is it's
Awesome.
just like iMovie, just like an upgraded version,
Yeah.
plus probably $300. But I was definitely
Oh,
happy enough. It was actually a gift from Benji to get me Final Cut because I was editing
oh,
some stuff. So
Benji, you're
he
awesome.
bought that for me. So very thankful and grateful for that. Thank you, Benji.
That's awesome.
And I've been learning since, and just learning on my own. Just watch YouTube videos, and then you're solid. You know?
Very much, very
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I use I use a PC, so I'm a PC girl, and
Yep.
so Adobe Premiere is a big goal of mine.
Yeah.
But I kind of figured I'm not ready to go all into Adobe yet. Like I want to have some skills, editing skills before I go into something like Adobe. Like I
Yeah.
mean, maybe I could just go straight in, but I know there's definitely a learning curve with it with Adobe. I
Oh, for
talk with my
sure.
hands, you can't
I
see me. I'm like
refuse
this.
to use Adobe because I don't understand
So
it.
yeah, so right now, my friend Ray, because Ray, he does really great things on Adobe Premiere. But I found a tool that I can use on PCs. I had to do a lot of research to find anything other than like Adobe or something like that on
Yeah.
PCs. But I'm using something called Wondershare Filmora,
Yeah. I've
and
heard of
it's
that.
a really great beginner tool. It's a really great way to learn how to edit.
Mm-hmm.
You can start out small and then you can get more advanced and more advanced.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great tool, but I want to master that first, and then I think maybe I'll go to Adobe.
Yeah.
But I did hear that there's a big learning curve on Adobe. Like if you're going from something like Wondershare, Filmora, or whatever else you can use on PCs to Adobe, is it the same thing when you go from iMovie to Final Cut Pro? Is there like a big learning curve? What
So
was it like for you?
the
I'm
way that
curious.
I learned from it mainly was getting advice from people who use it, but making sure that they understand that my brain learning span is so little. So like
Yeah.
all I want to know at first. So for instance, like if I were to learn Premiere, right, I could probably learn it
Mhm.
in like a day, but you just got to ask people
Yeah.
and watch videos. But you got to be specific too. So it's like how to add clips to a storyline on Adobe Premiere. You watch
Yeah.
that, you check it out, then you practice. I have this thing that I'm starting to mention a lot in like my videos and
Yeah.
even to people who reach out to me about stuff is once you learn something, cool, but now do
Mhm.
it. So like I
Yeah.
learned lighting videos, right? And now my lighting isn't perfect. I had such little time to set this up, but I
Better than
learned
mine.
about
I'm getting there.
lighting and I'm just like, okay, so I have to put this over here, then I have to put this a certain way, and then I practice it. I watch it, then I practice it. So when you practice something and then you teach yourself, then that
Yep.
way you learn even more. So it's like that's why when you
Exact same
learn
way.
a new language, you don't say it in your head or read it. You practice it. You talk to people. If
Yep.
you're speaking Spanish, right, and you want to say hi to someone, you're like "Hola," and then you want
Yeah.
to say "How are
Hola,
you
¿cómo
doing?" You say
estás?
"¿Qué estás haciendo?" And then you know what I mean.
Así es.
You
Yeah.
practice it, and because I've said it so many times, I know a certain amount of Spanish. Only like probably 5 lines, but that's about it. But it just takes practicing. Like
I can
don't
say
just
hi.
learn it, practice it too. So,
Yeah.
if you do want to
That,
jump into Adobe, I kind of suggest it, especially
eventually,
now
I
because
think.
between now and 6 months, it's going to be easy. The only thing you got to figure out next is how do I add a different thing? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
learn the
I
basics
think that's
first.
my next step. Yeah, and I'm kind of the same way. Like I can watch somebody do something all day. I can take notes. I call myself a note Nazi. I like taking
Oh yeah,
notes. Um, and I can do that all day, but it's really not going to click in my brain until I actually do it myself.
right.
And that's kind of how I learned just using the beginner tool that I'm using right now.
Hmm.
That's how I learned. Like I looked up tutorials. Yeah, I actually think I found my first tutorial I found on Wondershell from Filmora was by a guy in Australia. Who's pretty popular. Primal Video, I think, is the name of his
Yeah.
channel, and I just randomly found his tutorial, which was really great. And I just started going in and practicing, and I taught myself. Like I remember, I would see people's videos. I'm like, how do they do that thing where they're still talking, but then they have another clip come in, but they're still talking, and like overlay videos on top of each other.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out how to do that. So I just was messing around and I actually did it by accident
Yeah.
when I was trying to move one clip from this side to, towards the beginning
Yeah.
of the video.
Yep.
And I did it by accident. I'm like, that's how you do it. It's
I
kind of
learned
just
that
a
too
trial
the
and
same
error,
way because
completely
I
by
was like, how
accident.
do they do that? Like, how do they still talk and
I
then have a
want to do
layer
that.
over it? But then what
Yes.
you learn about editing in general
Yep.
is everything is in a layer. And once you
Yep.
learn that the bottom layer is the
Got this.
base and
And then you
everything
put
over
that.
that
Yeah.
is going to be shown. So if you want to
Yep.
show a text, you don't put it underneath the storyline. Now you put
Yep.
music under the storyline and all the sound
Yes.
under,
Yes.
main storyline, B-roll on top
Yep.
and then
Yep.
text on top of
Yep. That's
that. So let's
exactly
say
how I
you put
learned.
main storyline, B-roll, but you still want text to show, put it on
Yes.
top of all of that. So there's
Yep.
so many different editing tips that I'm even
It's
gonna be making
awesome.
videos on, especially this week because
Yeah.
I got so much time this week to do them. So
Yeah.
maybe even
I
tonight,
even
I
thought
think I'm
about
filming my
doing
other videos. So
I even thought about doing a beginner, like a tutorial just on what I've learned so far in Wondershare, just to show people that you can start. I mean, because they have a free tool. I ended up paying for the next level up to get more features, but just teach people that, I mean, you can use free tools. You can start out
oh yeah,
with smaller things and just teach people what I've learned so far.
yeah,
To say like you don't have to have a fancy camera to start out. I mean, you can just use your cell phone. That's what I did.
yeah.
That's what a lot of creators did. Or your webcam, or you
Hmm.
don't have to have a fancy setup,
Yeah.
or So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, like always learn the basics first because I was hanging out with my friend today,
Yeah.
social distance of course, and
Social
and
distancing.
um he mentioned because he makes beats. He's a firefighter, um, and
Okay.
he also makes beats at home, like R&B
Okay.
beats, rap beats, whatever, just beats in
Oh,
general.
how awesome.
And he got into that, and he was explaining to me, oh my god, why did I forget what I was saying? No, 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 go back.
He was making beats at home. He was a
What
firefighter
were you
making
just
beats
saying
at home.
again? You were talking about showing
Start with what you have.
tutorials. Start with what you have. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So my main point of that was he said, yeah, I could go afford to buy like $10,000 worth of equipment, but if I don't
Yeah.
know how to use it, that equipment's pointless. Which brings me to my point
Very wise.
is I can have a $500 camera right here, which I do, or I can have a
Yeah.
$5,000 camera. Without
Yeah.
this thing shining in my face, there's no difference. If I have this light
Yeah.
off, there's still going to be a grainy image. It might be a little bit sharper and have more depth, but it's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
But I have a webcam too. I actually borrowed this UTAP from Benji too because I wanted to try out my camera. So, and
Yeah.
I've had this camera for like 2-3 years, and I've never really used it as much besides for some vlogs. And now
Yeah.
it's my live streaming
Well,
camera,
it's great
right?
quality. Like it's great quality,
Yeah.
Chris.
But I started out
For
with
sure.
the webcam too, and I started out with my phone.
Yeah.
I had the 5C back in the day. I don't have it now,
Oh,
but I had the 5C, and I was vlogging off that, and I was doing Instagram off that. Like every single
yeah.
thing I was doing, pictures, video, everything was off that. And then I went to like one of
Yeah.
those CyberShot Canons, those little digital ones, and then I eventually bought this, or I got a nicer
I
phone.
used to have one of those that's so nostalgic. I
Yeah.
used to have one of those. It was so small. Like
Hmm.
I have small hands, but it probably was not much bigger than
Oh
my
yeah,
hand.
and you had the little wrist
And it was
strap too on it.
so small. It was silver, and
Yeah,
I remember that it made
those power
the
shots
worst
were dope.
quality video, but it was what I had, so I did it.
Yep, just gotta work with what you got and just master your skill because if you don't understand it, then it's kind of almost pointless to have.
That's true. It's really expensive equipment. It's expensive brick.
Yeah, if you're like me, if I invest into something, it's because I know what it is. I
Yeah,
researched this Rodecaster Pro for a whole year before I bought it. I'm not just dropping six
that's
hundred dollars
awesome.
on something just for it to maybe be cool. I could have easily bought
Yeah,
a cheaper mixer for $200, but I knew that
yeah,
this is something that is gonna connect with that mixer. I'd probably have to download something. I don't know. I have no idea how I would even use it, but this I watch plenty of videos and understand it
yep,
very, very well. So now when I buy it, it's not strange to me.
yeah.
It's easy to use. It's simple. It's also
Awesome.
very user friendly in general. So just always do
Awesome.
your
Yeah, I have
research.
a.
You have so much time.
Oh yeah, I have a on my Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
I have a wish list,
Yeah.
and it's very dorkily titled Stephanie's YouTube and Videography Wish List. And there's a whole bunch of cameras.
Yeah.
There's a see, I even forget what the name of it is, but it's the little what you can use for your live streams. I can't think of it, but I've got that. I've got GoPros, fancy tripods, microphones, all of that. And not I have it on there for two reasons. First of all, it's because, goals of what I eventually want to add,
Hmm.
equipment to use for my channel,
Yeah.
but also because it gives me time to research it
Yeah.
and learn, well, this seems really great, but is this going to be applicable to what I'm doing right now? Could I really figure out how to do this? Like, is
Hmm.
this, I mean, I'm not going to be too humbled to say that there might be some equipment that's just a little too advanced for me,
Yeah.
and I want to make sure that if I'm going to invest in it and work hard to get this equipment, like,
Yeah.
am I going to be able to use it and use it in a good way to improve the quality
Hmm.
of my videos?
Exactly.
So we'll see how many things I keep leaving on that list or how many things
And
I delete because
also,
I
it's good to
realize,
do that too because you might realize a month from now or 2 weeks from now you don't want that because you don't need it.
yeah,
I
because
I
something
have plenty of
changed.
stuff that I've put in my cart and put back because I didn't
Yeah,
need it. I didn't need um to get a certain light, right? Because I already got two. I got this one and this one, and I got one
yeah,
more of these too that I could
it
easily
looks
use.
great.
So it's like, okay, I don't need that right now.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of stuff that I try and buy, but I always come back to I don't need it right now. I want it because it looks cool and people make videos about it, but
Yeah,
will
man.
it benefit my set? That's all I care about.
Yep.
And if it does, okay. Let's see. This thing
Yeah.
costs $300. Okay, let me go try and find a client to I could do work for like $500. So that
Yeah.
way, I'm able to spend some money, put some in my pocket, pay some bills, and then I'm able to get my equipment, and that's about it. So
There you go. That's awesome.
yeah,
That's awesome, man.
but
Well, I like some of the equipment that I can just see here in the shot, like your
yeah.
microphone, the prismatic light you've got back there. Got some pretty cool stuff going on there. You got a good setup.
But this is all years too. Like I got these lights last year. This one was
Yeah.
given to me. This one I bought.
Yeah.
It was like half off. It was like 80% off because it was like a Black Friday thing. It was usually like 200 and something
Oh,
dollars, but I got them for
man.
like 70.
Oh my
Camera's like
gosh.
500, but I got that a couple
Sweet.
years ago. So none of this stuff is like new. The newest thing
Yeah.
that I've ever bought was this Rodecaster in the past 3
Yeah.
years, 2 years. So
Awesome.
it's definitely not
Awesome.
all in one day because I'm not out here making a bunch of money yet. So when I do and I know I want something, I'll buy
Building
it.
your empire.
Exactly.
We're both building our empires,
Exactly. It's all
brick
about
by brick. That's a little
just.
deep.
That's okay
Brick
though.
by brick. We're building our empires.
Exactly. That's what I think about it. NC Media, Nice Talk, and Nice
Yeah.
Chris all going up. I even just
Oh well, I
recently got
love
an
it.
LLC too for NC Media. So now I'm like an official
I
business.
ha- I haven't done that yet,
You don't need
but
to, by the way,
I mean, I'm not there yet. I
unless
think
you like taxes.
eventually I will.
Yeah.
I'll make it Creative Affairs Media LLC, but for right now, I just have the name.
I do
So,
recommend a site. Don't go to LegalZoom.
oh, I have a site. I have a website.
Oh no,
You
I
talking
meant site for LLC to
Oh,
buy it off of if you
sorry.
do it. Zen Business. Simple,
Okay.
easy, cheap. They do send you another
So no, it's
two
not
things in
cheap
the
to get an
mail.
LLC.
It's gonna be another $180. It's pretty much like your state stuff that you have to pay. But
Yeah.
I think I only paid like $300 for it, and then the other 180 comes like a month or so after. And so in general, you're paying about five something. But they do all the paperwork for you. They do every single thing. So the only thing you have to do is sit there and wait. I think it might be connecting. I think we might have either lost her or we will see. I'll give it a few minutes. I'll switch back up to me real fast and see. I don't know what happened. Oh, there she is. She's back. Perfect. There we go. I think your audio is off though. I'll switch back to me so that way it doesn't go. But it's almost been an hour anyways, so we'll see. Okay. Is it working?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. This has
Sweet.
never like I've never like this has never happened on one of my shows. It actually happened last week, so it was
Yeah.
kind of.
No, I need to figure out
I
because
think it was
there
on
is a
my
way to
end though.
connect Zoom to here, but I forget how
Okay.
to even do it. I tried it and it wasn't showing up, so I was like, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
So Skype was easier because it's with Ecamm. Today's my last
Gotcha.
trial day, so like right here is like a
Okay.
little Ecamm live logo showing up because I'm using free stuff right now. It's like I don't know
There
if I
you
want to spend
go.
$144 right now or even $244 for the Pro. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Gotcha.
And there's many
Gotcha.
other ones out there, so I might try a couple more free trials just to see what I like.
You have been on my side.
But I do like
Sorry.
VMix so much more. It's so much easier, and well, it's not easier, but for me,
For my lives.
yeah,
Because aside from just taking my lives to the next level and making them more professional, live streaming pros, they like their countdown timers that they have. Why am I sitting here going like this?
you're
I'm making
good.
the countdown that they have in their videos. That's so cool. They actually just released that for purchase, so you can add that to your
Yeah,
video to like maybe start at like.
I think the connection might have went out one more time. It might just be because the Wi-Fi. It happens, especially during these times of everyone on the internet. but she was talking about countdown timers. And I'm going to
Oh no.
show. Oh, there we are. I think it might just
Am I,
be. Are you hardwired in or are you Wi-Fi? I think it went back to that, but it's okay. I think we could probably start coming to a closing. It's here we go. Let me go this real quick and see how that is. Yeah, it might just be a connection issue, but no worries. I'm waiting here. If there is no response, I might end it, but we covered so much, and I hope there was a lot of value that you guys enjoyed during this broadcast. I know it was long, it was a whole hour long, but if you got time to listen, would really appreciate it. If there's anything that gave value, please let me know in the comments. I would love to. I'd love the feedback. You know what I could do better, what I could work on. I always want to improve. I'm trying to do lives 3 to 5 days a week and see how that all comes together. And yeah, so let me end this, and then I'm going to chat with her afterwards, and I'll put all of her links down below in the description box. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I really appreciate it, and I'll chat with you guys soon.